Hello, and welcome to another episode of Mindset Monday. Today is Monday, September 1st. As we always hear, September to remember. I hope you had a wonderful weekend and I hope you enjoy the last few days of August. You see, I'm rushing to get to October. I don't know why, but I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I had a wonderful weekend. We are here on our new series, Abundance in Love. Last week we wrapped up the entire series from January to the end of August. Abundance in service, abundance, the different perspectives. And today we are here for this series will continue until December, and we are going to be talking about abundance in love. Love covers the scripture talk about love covers a multitude of sin, and once love is flowing, then a lot of other things are taken care of. So we are looking at abundance in love. And viewers, thank you for being on the journey with us as we look at different aspects, different perspectives. And most importantly, we are starting September and ending in December, just culminating the rest of the year in love, abundance in love. Because when love is flowing, a lot of other things are taken care of. In our wisdom literature, the Bible talk about love. The greatest commandment is loving the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy might, with all thy soul, with all thy strength, and love your neighbor in the same degree you love yourself. 1 Corinthians 13 declares, one of the verses says, now abide faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love. Today we have a one of my mentors. His name is James MacNeil. He's a love guru, and he'll be sharing with us abundance in love. He his journey began years ago, and being one of his student, I have learned so much. I have been reminded of so many things in our wisdom literature, the Bible. He is the founder of the SuperHuman Movement, who inspires millions to unlock their potential. This gentleman, he is of no mean order. His accolades is very extensive, and this is not the first time he's sharing with us on the platform, but noteworthy, I would love to read some of his accolades or share with you some of his accolades. He's the author and founder of Pure Spiritual Intelligence and Verbal Aikido, of which I'm a student. And if you want to beef up on your communication skills, verbal Aikido is a very good way to start. It will help you to see differences, it will help you to understand biases and learn how to stay in your lane and also being a good steward of the talents that God has given you. He has shared on very big screens in the world with big names like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Deepak, Bob Proctor, Steve Forbes, Jack Canfield, and many others. He is well renowned and he has helped many of the Fortune 500 companies with leadership and allowing their leaders to make big bucks because of his instrumentality. This evening, we just want to share with you James MacNeil and his perspective of love and how he has used this to help us as his students and help millions in this field. Help me welcome James MacNeil.
Well, hello, hello, hello.
Yes, James, thank you so much for joining us again. And You have shared it on many different fields, but today, as the love guru, I am so happy, delighted that you're here to share with us this evening this whole aspect of love. Of course, there's a song that I learned in Sunday school. It's love, it's love, it's love that makes the world go round. And I'm so happy that you're here with us today. Welcome.
Why, thank you. It's a great honor to be here. I love what you're doing. I'm a raving fan of yours, and so anytime that I can participate in what you're doing, I'm all in. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Awesome, awesome. So, as we're talking about the abundance in love, I know love is the beginning of every good thing because the greatest commandment is love. So as we are here today, uh, we are going to be talking authentically because I know love is flowing from you and your whole aspect of your life is stemmed around love. How, let's just talk about your perspective of love and abundance.
Sure, absolutely. I'm honored. So, I think when we want to start talking about love and abundance, we start with God is love. And if God is love, then one who is in communion with God is therefore abundant. In John 10:10, Jesus said, the thief comes, the enemy comes to steal and destroy. But I've come that you would have life and life more abundantly, life to the full, which is more than we can contain, more life than we can um, consume. And so we become a vessel through which love flows. Anyone who's connected experiences, expresses, and expands love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self control. And so it is epicenter to faith and connection to God, epicenter to a life worth living, epicenter to a healthy individual, a healthy family, a healthy community, a business with which you would like to, engage. It is the foundation of all good things, the abundance that comes from love. So that's how central it is in my perspective, for sure. So maybe that's a good start.
That's definitely a good start. So as you talk about the fruit of the spirit, it's like love is the whole the cup that it flows from. Why don't you expand a little bit more on that?
Well, when for me, my journey was a desperate need for love, feeling not loved, and I can't put that on the people around me. I can't put that on my family. We're a unique family with unique challenges. My father struggled with substance abuse and a violent temper, and I was on the wrong side of that a lot. So that wasn't perfect, but it's not fair for me to believe that I wasn't loved at all as a child. That's too extreme a perspective. But my feeling was that I wasn't loved. It was just a feeling. And what I did was I just thought, how do I make it when I don't feel loved? Because it's a fundamental need that we have. And so as a child, I became desperate for attention. Attention is one of those things that a person might seek to be a surrogate, and with the idea of fame, it's a counterfeit. But
Mhm.
even if it's in its infancy, it's a surrogate to true love, and it's not unfair to make that association because they say, how does a child spell love? And the answer is Time. If you give them your time, if you give them your attention, they feel loved. And when someone's not truly present with you, they're not conveying that love. And so I just went for attention. I became a class clown and all those kinds of things, trying to, find a way to get attention, and nothing was working. I struggled with things like ADHD and dyslexia and OCD and complex PTSD, and I couldn't speak in sentences till I was 9 or read till I was 21. So I really struggled with getting along with people and fitting in. But then it was when I was 19 that I had my encounter with God, where all of a sudden I just felt overwhelming love. And what that
Wow.
did was it was a complete transformation from me from I'm in the dark, desperate, and all consuming, right? Desperate, darkness, and just taking attention, taking anything that I could get my hands on. And then instantly when I felt God's loving presence, it was a complete transformation of now I see, like I just felt like now I can understand the world. I can understand how the world works. I can understand how people work. I was blessed with a perception and some proof to it that I had. All of a sudden started understanding. I had insight, but then on top of that, I was then consumed with the opposite motivation. My previous motivation was desperate to receive, and immediately I felt abundant. And I have to give. I have to help. I have to make the world a better place. It was a complete and total transformation. Two completely different people. And it's not because I was disciplined. It's not because a preacher told me that's the way I'm supposed to be. I just could not help experiencing that complete transformation. Now, all I could do is think, how can I have a positive impact? How do I get more people to know what I've just come to know? And so it was I had an all-consuming desperate need, and then an all-consuming compulsion to give and to serve. And so for me, it was
Okay,
extremely experiential.
let's pause right there. That's
Mhm.
so profound. There's a parallel. All the first you had an all-consuming compulsion of wanting, and now once love shined in, now you have a all-consuming compulsion to give.
Yep.
It's such a powerful
Mhm.
transformation that happens right there. So as you expand, there's a song that says, "When love shines in, you want to give." So continue on that line.
Well, then, I mean, I'm going into my own journey rather than sharing like the philosophical secrets of it all. And not to say that, I mean, I'd love to continue, but my journey then was just now what do I do? Now what do I do? Now I have life. Now that I have energy. Now I'm, I, I became kind of fearless in a sense. And so it's just like, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? and I was living in Florida at the time,
Mhm.
and I came back to Toronto, Canada, where I'm from and where I am at this moment. And I just thought, what do I do? What do I do? So I found a church, and I thought, well, maybe I should go to Bible college and become a preacher. So went to this Bible college, and it was absolute hell on earth for me. Um, so I didn't have any money, so I was crashing on a mattress in my buddy's family's basement, and I only had so many clothes, only had whatever, and so I was really struggling, and I would work. I'd go sell suits at night after class, to try and make enough money for food or whatever, and. Uh, and it didn't take long before we figured out I can't read, but I didn't know that. And in regular school, I was able to kind of fake it, just remember what people talked about, but I couldn't read, and so we figured that out, and I failed miserably. And the people were nice, but I didn't fit in. They would go. I was a new Christian, right? So they'd be in chapel, and they'd say, "Okay, we don't need to open our hymn books. Everyone knows this song." I'm like, "No, not everyone knows this song." And then they'd say things like, everyone knows the famous quote from Second Hezekiah or something. I'm just like, what the frick are you people talking about? So it really didn't go well for me. But before I was done quitting Bible college, I never passed. But before I got finished, they gave me they try and get these young Bible college people to go give sermons in places.
Mhm.
So the very first place I gave a sermon, they hired me to be their pastor. I'm like, no, 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 no. I don't know what the hell I'm. Sorry, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm not spiritual like you guys. I don't know what you guys are talking about. I only have one sermon, and I stole it from someone else. Like, but I told them not to hire me, but they did anyway, and I became an assistant pastor, and that didn't go well. But I I just I just kept saying, what do I do now? And for me, it goes back to this idea of love and abundance, because that may not have been the answer, but I couldn't stop searching for a way that I could serve. Jesus says, "I've come not to be served, but to serve." And I just thought, well, that's now my mission. I have to serve. I have to find a way to serve. And because I didn't come from, a normal background, I have these challenges with learning and so on. I didn't have anything else I knew how to do. I learned how to sell suits. I couldn't play hockey anymore. My body was too damaged. So all I could do is like talk. So it was by the grace of God that happened. I got a career as a speaker, and that was it from there. But it was really just I'm going to explode if I don't find a way to pass on the love that is abundant within me. It's just spilling. So anyway, so that's my journey on it, uh, as a setup.
So love, you once you're transformed, it's like you stumble into many different things, or might I say, the journey just began where the Lord wanted to take you.
Yeah.
So love shines in, and you were able to move from one phase to the other, although it was not a smooth sailing. So at the point where I just wanted you to go back to that area where you were an assistant pastor.
Yeah. Okay.
I am looking at, they saw love more than anything else. That's why they wanted you. So share with us a little bit of that aspect, because I'm not sure if I knew about that little part. It sounds very
Yeah, I
interesting.
don't tell anyone because it's all very tragic. But thanks for digging in. I shouldn't have brought it up. So it was a short period of time, and uh, I really wanted to get it right, and I was studying. I was the idea of learning the Bible and learning to teach, learning to preach, learning whatever, I became, like, really, really it was more serious than school. Like, school, it's like, whatever, but these people are counting on me. I've gotta have a message. These people, their lives, their families. So it really propelled me to go deeper into learning scripture and learning how to organize a thought and articulate it. So that was a far better education than the Bible college was. Um, but like I said, it didn't last long. It was about 3 months in, and the challenges were, I was a newlywed at the time too, and my marriage was instantly on the rocks. Like, by the time we got off the plane on the honeymoon, it was already in trouble. It was we didn't have a moment's peace. But we ended up with a beautiful son, and we're great former spouses. And sadly, and that of course went against my beliefs, to get divorced. But that's just the journey. And so, because of my home situation was really a challenge, and was showing up in church, and it was just one of those tragic things. But the good news is the story ended with great gratitude on their part and great gratitude on my part, and an incredible, short-lived but incredible experience of deep dive into learning how to all the pieces of what a pastor would and could should be. The organizing the thoughts, caring. Um, yeah, it was a great experience, painful, but great. And then one of the things that did is that set me up to think that, wait, maybe I can be a speaker, because when I was on the pulpit, everything was great. Whenever I was speaking, the world was a good place. Everything was fine as long as I'm in front of a microphone, which is really strange because I had enormous social phobias. So I was comfortable on the microphone, but after, if someone came up to say hi, I would almost have a heart attack. So I had huge social phobias. But something about being behind the microphone helped me feel a little bit safer. So that was that journey, and I'm very grateful for it.
That's love right there. Love covers a multitude of sin.
Mhm.
Covers a multitude of deficiency, and your love for people actually took you through. I'm just paraphrasing. Your love for people actually took you through that phase,
Yeah,
and I'm happy that I dug in, because now I learned something new of you that we didn't know
that's
before.
right. I've
What
been
love
I've been able
does.
to keep it secret until now. That's it.
So it's because of the love that's flowing. I love you and you love me, so you're sharing. They say
Amen.
when two persons meet and they love each other, they unfold,
Mhm.
and so this community is really in love with you and what you have done over the years. So moving forward, as we're talking about abundance in love, there's so many things that you have been involved in, starting from now that you know you God has unfolded that aspect of you being a person who can speak, who can
Mm-hmm.
influence, and it has taken you through many
Yeah.
countries, many areas. So share with us now one aspect of your journey as a speaker. I know you love to speak, but is it, just share with us one aspect of, let me give you, where I met you was the 30-day miracle challenge, and
Ah,
the love the love that you share with us on that program, it has enhanced not only my perspective and what I do now, but many others. So share with us, how did you come about doing this 30-day miracle challenge? And
sure.
of course, it has influenced me in many ways and one.
Thank you. Well, it's a great honor to the way I think about it is being used. That i- if something hits a nerve just right, it just hits people in a way, and it's like artists. They will say if they have a hit, a singer, a songwriter, they'll say, I wrote 100 songs, and that one I didn't even like. I don't know why it's a hit. You know what I mean? It's like they don't know what's gonna hit a nerve in a powerful, positive way. So whenever anything has a special impact, I just know that that's a divine thing, which means I don't deserve the credit. The artist doesn't deserve the credit, but divine employed us, and we play a part in saying I'm willing to be a part of it. But that's
So
one of
we're
those.
ambassadors, as you say. We're
Yes.
ambassadors.
Completely, completely. And so I'd say one of the best things I can share with you and with everyone is, um, w- if I was to ask what does the topic of love and abundance have to do with my journey? It's more than anything else my fearlessness. I just I go and I do things, and I'm horrible at them, and I can get rejected, I could get ostracized, I can be hated, but I lick my wounds and I do it again because I can't stop seeking to serve greatly. I don't know how to sit down and shut up and play small and don't do anything. I don't know how to just say, how can I just consume and have an easy life? I cannot, that doesn't happen inside of my head. All I can think about is what can I do to shine light and positively touch lives. Like I just don't know how to stop doing that. So there's a fearlessness and a relentlessness to it, and that just to me comes from the abundance of love. That just says you are constrained. Like you don't have a choice in this. And to me, that's been the biggest blessing. That it's like I can get knocked down, beat up, lose everything. I can have things go bad. That happens. Maybe it happens to everybody, but for me, it's like, so how fast can I get back up and do cool stuff again? Like, how fast can I learn from this? And with the 30-day miracle challenge, I had struggled. Emotions have been a journey for me. I can go up and down, like uh, depression and so on has been part of my journey in many seasons. And I had been climbing out of a dark place when COVID hit, and I'd started Pure Spiritual Intelligence, and I knew that was something important. I really was laid on my heart, and God told me to do this, and I felt inspired, and I was working on it. Then COVID hit, and now I'm not allowed to get on stage. I'm like, well, now what do I do? I'm not a butcher, baker, candlestick maker. I don't know how to build houses. What am I going to do? So I just said, I need to be quiet with God. And I just stopped talking to everyone for a month. I did a month of silence, like not like religiously, like, oh, but I just said, I'm not talking to anyone. And then it just hit me, near the end of the 30 days of my silence that says, package 30-day challenge, a 30-day journey for people. And then a lot of what is inside the 30 miracle challenge is stuff that I had created for other applications and other implications and other programs. And and I just prayed upon it and work, and then it came together miraculously, but not without the work. It's a famous story of a preacher pulling up to a farmer's beautiful harvest or whatever. And you may have heard the story. Maybe it's been said too many times by preachers. I heard it from a preacher, and he said, God, the preacher says to the farmer, he says, God gave you a beautiful farm here, and the farmer says, that's true, but you should have seen it when God had it to himself. I've put in a lot of work to make this thing look as good as it is now. So it's a partnership with divine that says, I will pour love into you. I will pour opportunity into you. Now it's up to you to do something with it. And then just fearlessly say, what can I do? And constantly leaning into it. I think that's the best way to describe how it's manifest for me. It's just like, I can't help to, as long as I'm healthy enough, to always be all in, to see how I can serve.
Powerful. It's a partnership with divine and us. God do his part, and we
Mm-hmm.
need to do our part. Viewers, feel free to ask questions. James is right here. The love guru is right here to share
Mm-hmm.
his authenticity with us. So feel free to ask questions. So as you're on the topic of the 30-day miracle challenge, now, there are a lot of people who have been helped by it, but I know
Mm-hmm.
many others are not familiar to what this is. Why don't you share a little bit of what it is and how they can get involved? Because viewers, this is pure love. We share love, we experience love from our love guru, James MacNeil. James, why don't you share with them what it's all about?
Sure. And do you happen to have the link? Because I don't have the link prepped or
Yes,
anything. Maybe you could share
I
that.
will drop the link. I will drop the link in
So
shortly.
So the 30-day miracle challenge originally was we offered it at $300, and it was one time. So it was 30 days. You joined for 30 days, and then I thought we should record it so it's not just live. And then we started doing it every month, and then we thought we didn't think people would come back. We thought people would do it once and that's it. But people want to come back again and again and again. So then we created a membership, $97 a month. And then I think it was 2 years ago, or maybe 1 year ago, I said, let's just give it away for free. So a lot of the people who were paying still pay because they're contributing to my expenses, whatever, to say thank you. But you can join for free, absolutely no cost. So what the 30-day miracle challenge is what if, like, imagine this, what if somehow miraculously something happened, even right now while we're talking, for no particular reason. I didn't do anything special. You didn't do anything special. We didn't do some ceremony or anything. But for some reason, all of a sudden, everything in your life became perfect. What would that look like? Do you know what perfect would look like? Would you be in the same house? Would you, be doing the same things? What would your perfect dream life look like if it was miraculous? If you went to bed tonight normal and woke up tomorrow morning in your absolute dream life with everything being perfect, however you can define it. My question is, can you define it? Most people don't even know what the dream life would look like. They don't have a clear vision. So the 30-day miracle challenge helps you to get that vision, but then it helps you get over the vision. What I mean by that is having a clear, compelling vision that you believe in and feel free to pursue, but then you hand it back to divine and say, I don't need that to be happy. I can be happy now. And the fastest path to your perfect dream life is to be happy where you are today. And so we go through a 30-day process of disciplines and exercises, meditations, and more, where it's actually real work, right? You're putting in maybe a couple hours a day to do all of the disciplines. And the idea of it is, and it's happened, is that miracles will just start showing up in your life. And we've had people have, it was very common to have, I don't know why the number 10,000 kept showing up, but people are having $10,000 miracles in their very first month. Um,
Mhm.
one woman, one woman said, I had an ex-boyfriend who I haven't talked to forever, and he owed me, I don't know, $15,000. And she said, seriously, years have gone by. I never talked to him. And I didn't include him in anything, not a forgiveness letter, nothing. But he just out of the blue, I think it was like in the first week, just sent me the $15,000 that he owed me. And this is not uncommon. People have all kinds of miracles during the month. So what I believe to be true and what this process does is it helps us get out of the way. I don't believe that divine is withholding miracles from us. I believe divine love is all present, all knowing, all powerful, all holy, and love. Therefore, divine wants the highest and the best for us. And so we might be blocking it with fears and frustrations, egoic entrapments. We're in the past, we're in the future, we're not in present peace now with God. So when we can kind of calm down, all of a sudden the light shines. When we calm down, we get out of the way of the miracle flow. And so that's why it's a full 30 days, because it was an easy way to manage it given our calendars, just to say, if you just poured 1 month into your supernatural machine, if it is your relationship with divine love, God, if you will. I just don't. We respect people from all faiths inside of the community. I'm obviously a fully committed Christ follower, but inside of the community, we learn and we grow together in community, and we simply get out of our way and we get out of God's way. Um, we don't. Some people believe that you can, like the way some churches, some people teach the Bible and so on. They're teaching how to, like, manipulate God, how to force God to do what they want, and we don't believe that at all. I believe God already knows what's best for you more than you know. So God's plans are greater than our plans, and so what what we simply want to do is get out of the way of blocking that flow, and let God and angels celebrate as they get to just bless our socks off. And that's what generally happens when we get out of the way. And it's a lesson I continue to learn.
Amen. See, the link is will be in the chat, so you can access this every today. We actually started a new month, and this morning the shares were phenomenal.
Mm,
Every single day it's something new. We have the same videos for the same day for each month, but there is never a time that we have the same shares after the video. So
mhm,
it's mind blowing, and it started with love and it's continuing with love. And many of the persons who started, they will tell you that this is home. We have found family there. We have now had the chance to see many of the people that we have met on this platform, and it's pure love, abundance of
mhm.
love that the love guru James MacNeil have allowed God to direct him, and he's doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, well, thank you.
So,
It's a safe place, and that's a blessing, right? I mean, Miriam, there's and many people here might know this, that you can be a good person starting a good thing, but when it's community based, the community is going to make it great or not. People will come where there's excitement, but they'll only stay where there's love. And we worked really hard to create a safe place, but it's the community that's made it great. I'm honored to be a part of it. That's for sure.
and I'm honored to be one of your mentees. Thank you. Now, as James is involved in so many different things, he
Mm,
is using the love that God has given him to just, like when we were younger, we have something that we call Kool-Aid, and you drop a little Kool-Aid in a glass with a little sugar, and it changes the color of the water. So that's what you are, and the love that God has given to you is dispensing all over. Now, I want to leave the newest part of your involvement, the newest part of your creation for the last, which is the Superhuman Network, the
mhm,
Superhuman Movement. But there is another aspect of James that we are involved in, and this is what we call verbal aikido. I wanted to
mm,
just share that love that just burst that thing when we started for years, and it has helped with communication in every aspect of it. This is
that's
another part
beautiful.
of the love, abundance in love.
So there was a time that I think the best term is motivational speaker, and I started getting hired by the world's most powerful banks, and they would ask me to. I can't remember how it evolved, but it became all about communications, which has been a fascination for me because as a child, I couldn't communicate. I couldn't speak till I was 9. I couldn't read till I was 21. I couldn't understand how everyone else got along. People just, they'd walk in a room and everyone would like them. I walked in a room and people would leave or make me leave. I didn't do well. I got punched in the face by teachers in front of the class. I was beaten up. I really didn't do well with humans. So I was fascinated by communications since my earliest recollections. So as a speaker, it just evolved into I became a communications expert, not according to me, but my clients, who were the most powerful banks in the world, said I'm the top communications expert they found in the world. So I stopped arguing and said, yes, I'm a communications expert, but no degrees or anything, just by the grace of God. And so I was training in a financial institution, and someone came up to me at the end and they said, "What you teach is just like a verbal aikido." And I said, "What's that?" And they said, "Aikido is a Japanese martial art. It's a non-adversarial martial art." So the aikido, the word aikido means the powerful path to peace. And so the whole idea of this martial art is to avoid any kind of conflict and to find peace at every possible intersection. And if a person attacks you, how to use their energy against them. And so they suffer so much so fast that they quit. And then you say, I'm sad it happened. You help them up. But at no point do you feel victorious because an Aikidoko is embarrassed that they failed to keep it from becoming violent. So they're not
Mhm.
proud that they won. They're sad that it happened. So Aikido is a beautiful martial art. And it's based in Buddhism, which expanded my respect for other spiritual philosophies, journeys, and faith journeys. So so verbal aikido is basically saying, no matter what you give to me, I want to respect, redirect, and maintain balance. So if you were to say, James, you're a jerk, if I'm present and filled with God's love, and if I'm in the right mindset, what I would do is perhaps say, I'm sad to hear that you think I'm a jerk, if you said I'm a jerk or whatever. Uh, I'm sad to hear you say that I'm a jerk. That tells me I probably offended you in some way. And I know for sure that wasn't my intent. Would you be kind enough to tell me what I did so I can properly apologize and do better? So instead of saying, because the in fighting, there's traditional fighting, which is block and counter. So if someone throws a punch and say you're a jerk, I say no, you're a jerk, right? Or something like that. Or going to like a jujitsu or a judo thing where you move with their energy. So if someone says you're a jerk, I might say, yeah, I know, but instead I say, I'm sad to hear that. I didn't intend that. um, I apologize. Would you be kind enough to tell me what I did so I can do better? Then, no matter what you say, it can and will be used to serve you. So Aikidoko's the energy of verbal Aikido is to respect, redirect, and always maintain balance. So if I come with safe strength, right, calm confidence, safe strength, pure motivation, it's pretty hard to resist. And we have some acronyms we use. Like we offer to everyone genuine respect, acceptance, interest, and a spirit of service. That makes us somewhat irresistible. And when we communicate, we want to communicate, strike the right chord, communicate honestly, openly, respectfully, and directly. And that's really my biggest claim to fame earlier on, where I was able to train international law enforcement, which was a huge thing for me because my dad was a law enforcement officer, and I was trained. I played hockey with the cops and baseball with the cops, and they're tough. And so to be seen by them as someone they can listen to and respect, that was awesome, because they're super macho. And for them to be able to listen to me, that was a huge honor. And I have a really tough uncle. Can I tell you a funny story about my tough uncle? Uh, his name is Blaze. He's in Florida, and he was the top cop. In fact, you remember the TV show Miami Vice?
Yes.
Most of you are probably too young, but Miami Vice. My uncle was the real captain of the real Miami Vice at the time the show was running. So the
Mhm.
real Miami Vice captain was my uncle. Okay, so he and I are driving once. I'm driving. I don't know why he's in the passenger seat, but I'm driving. He has a southern accent, and I stop at a stop sign. I keep going. And he says to me, he says, Jimmy? I said, yes, sir. He said, if I was to take out my billy club and I was to start beating you on the head with it, and if you yelled, stop, 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 would it be all right with you if I just slowed down? So I guess I didn't stop fully at the stop sign. So
So
yeah.
you
So
kept
and he
rolling instead of
I guess I
stopping.
rolled it. Yeah, I must have rolled it. So then he heard me speak, and these are the kind of men that I looked up to as a child. I just thought I could never get their approval. And he says, Jimmy, he says, I've been doing. He's retired. He says, I've heard a million speakers. He says, there's only one I could think of that I'd rather listen to than you. You are one of the best speakers on this earth. And I thought, wow. So it was like a huge feather in my cap when I was training
Yeah.
Florida State police officers. Yeah. There you go. Verbal
Yes.
Aikido. It's huge, huge.
And with verbal Aikido, it helps to dissect. It helps you to stand tall. It helps you to share with others without 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 having the cruelty of bashing someone.
Mhm.
That's what verbal Aikido does. And it has helped with James Love sharing with us. It has helped me in my work. It has helped me with sharing with my peers in many different ways. One of the statements you always make is, how can I bring love into this
Yes.
moment?
Yes.
Why don't you expand on that just that particular, because
Sure.
it's all love.
Well, life isn't as easy as any textbook will teach us. Life is not as easy as any course will train us. We're all going to find ourselves in situations where we don't know if we should laugh, cry, punch, run. We don't know what we're doing. And to me, that's just an honest way to look at life. There's going to be moments where no training is going to prepare me. And so I've got this like cheat card in my back pocket at all times. And it's simply, how can I best bring love into this moment? So is it an apology? Is it the most loving thing I can do is leave? The most loving thing I can do is say thank you or I apologize? Or is the most loving thing to do to stand up for someone who needs me to stand up for them? To be fearless and to say, I realize you two are having a disagreement and it's none of my business, but I can't stand back because it's breaking my heart to watch what's going on here. And I'm asking you to allow me to interject. And you might say, well, who the heck am I? Well, if that's the best way you can bring love into the moment, you do it with as much respect as possible. So it's like a default. If I can't think of anything better, I'm just going to ask myself that question. How do I best bring love into this moment? And then do my best. And often it's be quiet. But there's a big difference between those who, like a lot of people will say, I would tell them the truth, but I don't want to hurt them. No, you don't want to tell them the truth because you're afraid of telling the truth and how it might hurt you. That's almost always the case when people say, I'm not going to have that difficult conversation because I don't want to be mean to them. No, it's mean to them to rob them of truth. So often we're hiding because we're uncomfortable. But how can I best bring love into this moment is to get past myself, to get over myself and say I'm not comfortable, but this is important. And the best thing I can do right now is X, whatever that is. Lovingly, openly, respectfully, and directly. So for me, it is helps me greatly just to have that in my back pocket. How can I best bring love into this moment?
And it helps in every situation because, as you said, you take yourself from it and see how best you can help. Now we're moving into the latest James invention, latest James movement, and this is something that is a brainchild of James, and we want just to share a little bit about the passion, the love that you have for humanity, why you decided to go this route, and this is the superhuman movement.
Hmm. So yeah, this has been it was maybe 2 years ago that I, in a sense, made the mistake of looking into what are the real problems in the world? How deep are the real problems in the world? Like the conspiracy theories of who's running the world and all that kind of stuff. And it's like falling down a rabbit hole that it was like there's no coming out of it. Really affected me emotionally and so on, just to study the things of world history and current economics and blah blah blah. And one of the things I became aware of is our media, and I'm guessing anyone watching this knows this, that our media is not pure. We're not being given the truth. We're being told what somebody wants us to be told. And you may know this, but in Canada and the United States, both countries in the last 10, 15 years have legalized governments lying to us. Now, in times of war, it's not uncommon for governments to use propaganda on the other country, the enemy country, to affect, whatever public opinion. But it was always illegal to do it to your own citizens. Well, both countries made it perfectly legal to lie to their citizens. And then when citizens say, well, we don't agree with that, then the government says this is misinformation and disinformation. These people are punishable. We want to control. We have our own fact checkers, but the fact checkers are merely backing up whatever the story is. Blah blah blah. Don't get too worried if you don't believe in any of that. That's fine. My point is that I was brokenhearted, right? And I was like, how can we have a positive effect? How can voices make a difference? And so I realized the only thing not controlled right now is podcasting. I was like, this is the rebel, the rebel base. This is how voices can get out there to share love. I've heard of Christians are getting. There was a Christian artist in a singer came. I think they're from the States, but I don't know. They were singing in Montreal, Canada, and a anti-Christian person, I guess, ran into the church and threw a smoke bomb, or to disrupt everything. And that person didn't get arrested, but instead the police came in and shut down the church and said, "You don't have a permit to sing here." Like, it's a church. That's what we do. Every church in Canada sings every week. Well, today you need a
Amen.
permit, and they just shut it down. And I'm like, wow. And so I've seen a lot of attacks on Christianity and so on. And if Christianity is not your jam, I'm just saying, when good people are trying to do good, they shouldn't be stopped and they shouldn't be penalized, right? So how do we get love out there in a world that has controlled the food, the media, the education, things are being controlled? So to me, I thought podcasting is actually a really important thing, and it's the last vehicle through which we can communicate. And I had never thought about doing podcasts myself. I did traditional speaking and online courses and in-person courses and retreats, but I thought I can put out all of my content in podcasts and not charge for it, as much as I can, in the time allotted. Now, this is the way I want to do this. So then I did research on how podcasting works, and it's so hard to get attention. I don't know how many viewers you've got, but it's so hard for people with a good voice and a good message to get heard. Just because you're good doesn't mean everyone's going to find you. So it's like, how do you
True.
market this? So I did a ton of research on this, and I found different systems that if you plug them together, you'll have a dramatic unfair advantage. So everyone who joins my network, any host that wants their podcast on my network, we have to make sure it's a fit. But it has to be positive, love, right? It's about how we can elevate humanity. So immediately every host is on the top 20 channels in the world of audio podcasts, video podcasts, and TV streaming. We signed a TV contract, and we'll have a 24/7 channel as soon as we can ramp it all up. And I launched my own show. So the network is called SuperHuman Network, and my show is called the SuperHuman Movement.
Hmm.
And so I've been doing tons and tons of work trying to find the right voice and right tone. But I'm happy to say the first episode will be dropping maybe tomorrow. I almost put it out there today, but I want to tweak a few things, but I can't be such a perfectionist. I got to let it out there. So I want the world to hear good, positive voices on all kinds of topics, like health and fitness, right? It doesn't matter. Um, Philosophy, relationships, you name it.
Love.
I want to create, yeah, love. And I just want to create a place where people can go and it's going to be good for them and their family. And the family's been under attack for far too long. Faith has been under attack. So I just I just want to create a network that can't be stopped. And I was blessed. I'll give you a story. I mentioned this on one of our 30-day miracle challenges, but I just took a shot. I'm crazy enough to take a shot and try and meet people. So I reached out to a guy. I won't tell you his name because I'm not sure that he gave me permission, but he's one of the most powerful, influential people in the United States of America for radio. Top seven, all the top. almost all of the top radio stations and top radio programs have had his fingerprint on them. He's that kind of powerful guy. I reached out to him out of the blue. I'm nobody. And long story short, he responded, and within an hour we talked for 2 hours. And he said, I never look, I used LinkedIn. He says, I never use LinkedIn. I never look at a message. I never talk to anyone. I'm never available. He said, it was just a thing that God just told me to talk to you. And he said, I'm going to back you and guarantee that your movement goes to the moon. So it's like, that's all
Wow,
God. So we're expected to do great things. So very exciting.
powerful, powerful. So James movement, James network will facilitate all of you who actually need to have your podcast out there.
Hmm.
He will help you. I'm telling you, he has shared his expertise with us for free. Now, this is a network that he will assist you with. Of course, this is paid, but there are many other things that he has done, which has helped us, which has allowed us to be here this evening. So make sure you connect with him. And the
Hmm.
first connection you can make with him is joining the 30-day
Yeah.
miracle challenge. The connection is in the chat. You can
Yep.
grab it, and it will also be on my YouTube channel. So you can get get acquainted with what we are enjoying and what has helped a lot of us through COVID and up to today. So as we bring the curtains down on
Hmm.
this afternoon's session, why don't you just share with us a summary of this entire
Sure.
discourse this evening?
Sure. Here's my thought that I really would love to share. If you if you're paying attention to social media, mass media, legacy media, if you're paying attention to what's going on, you're going to see a lot of hate. You're going to see a lot of fear. Whether you're the media machine finds an angle to provoke you, so you may have been more in the mid range, but they'll suck you into an extreme left or extreme right perspective. They'll have you fearing and hating this people group, or fearing and hating this people group. And if that's happened to you, then I want you to know that's sad. And the power of their machines to make us to fear and hate each other are so great that we should only feel so guilty about it. But what I do say is this: the fruit of the spirit, the evidence of one connected to divine love, is not fear and hatred and insults and violence, and you know what I mean. Like that's just not the Jesus thing. So if you want to know how you are doing right now in your spiritual journey, just ask yourself right now, to what degree am I experiencing, expressing, and expanding love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, and self control? To the degree that you are experiencing, expressing, and expanding that, you're dialed in. And if you're not, the good news is the one who can make that happen is always saying yes and amen to you. So if today you're ready to not be afraid, if today you're ready to not be angry, if you're ready to say I'm open, I'm open to being happy, I'm open to being blessed, I'm open to be a blessing, then divine is always saying yes and amen. And the good news is, it's not like the journey spiritually is not like learning how to lift weights or run 100 meters or build a house. It doesn't take, it necessarily a long time, although some things are a lifelong journey, of course. You can have a supernatural complete transformation in a flash, in a moment. It takes a moment to say yes to divine love and say, what do you want to do with this life? You know, if I was to hand my life over to you, what do you want to do with it? And divine will say, finally. And the good news is, God's plans are always greater than our plans. God's timing is better than our timing. You and I are creative and compassionate spiritual beings currently existing in physical form. You are infinitely valuable, exquisitely unique, perfect in your personhood. And your natural state is in connection to divine love and loving connection with yourself, your higher self, and loving connection to every living thing on this planet. And if you're not experiencing it, the good news is you can. And with all of my heart, I hope you will be open to just be blessed. How would you like to be the most blessed person you've ever met? How would you like to be the person who everything just works? The lights turn green, people like you, your hair is always good. That didn't work out for me. Um, but actually, it worked out great. You should have seen what I did with it before. I had an afro. You would have laughed, Miriam, if I ever showed you a picture of me in high school. My goodness. Um, but I just trust that if you will trust, you will know limitless blessing, love, and abundance. And that's my hope for you. Hopefully, this has been encouraging.
As you talk about trust, there's a song that we always sing when I was younger, and I think we would still sing it in church. Trust and obey.
Mm.
There is no other way. So when we trust in God, who is our divine, the source, once we're connected and stay
Hmm.
connected, trust and obey. That's the only way to be happy. Because once we are connected to God, who is our love source, then love will flow and it will assist
Hmm.
us, guiding, directing us in the way to go. It is such a powerful analogy of this whole how your love was just your life was just encompassed with love, and that is why we're here sharing your life with us and the love that has flown with everything that you have done. If there's one more sentence you want to leave with this wonderful um, platform, what would it be?
Actually, I really like what you just said, trust and obey. There's no other way to be happy in Jesus. And I would say trust and obey. There's no other way to be successful. There's no other way to be loved maximum, to have peace, to have impact. It's it goes back to the exact same thing, trust and obey. And when you resist the temptation, like often when we go to trust and obey, there'll be a, but I don't want to give up this or I don't want to do that. It's not about rules and regulations. It's just there's something, right? Whatever that is for you. Um, I know for me, it's been a case of I'm gonna trust anyway. I feel like I'm gonna die. Like if forgive somebody, if I can't forgive them, I'll just die if I forgive them. It's like no, I'll just trust and I'll do that. Whatever it is, whatever's between you and complete riotous joy and abundance, just trust and obey. And in the spiritual world, it's different. In the physical world, we measure strength by how much we can lift up. In the spiritual world, we measure strength by how much we can let go. And so to trust and obey is the greatest conclusion in my mind.
Powerful. James, as we wrap up, we'll see you backstage. But viewers, we thank you so much for engaging right here. And for those who are not able to view it on right now, you can watch the replay and share your comments. This is not the last time James will be here, but James, I am so happy. I'm honored that you're able to share a little bit of your journey with us. Though it's so much you've said, if we had 3 hours, you could just dissect the different aspects of where you've journeyed. But I thank you so much for sharing so much with us, your authenticity, and what you will continue to do to lift up humanity. Thank you so much.
My
And
pleasure.
viewers, until next week, this is another episode of Mindset Monday.